Welcome to the Own Your Best Life podcast. I'm May Emson, your host, leadership and mindset coach. Here, we talk all things spiritual, mindset, business, leadership, and wellness for the modern seeker who wants to align their life with purpose and inspiration. We'll cover career changes, stress management, meditation, energy, intuition, and more. Each episode holds spiritual and practical tools to help you live a life of your wildest dreams without getting burnt out along the way. Ready to live a life on your own terms? This is the Own Your Best Life podcast. Welcome, friends, to episode number 83 of the Own Your Best Life podcast. So it is November and I'm actually traveling right now, which is why the quality of the podcast might sound a little bit different, but I wanted to get this message out to you because I do think that as we start to head into these months of winter, as we head into the end of the year, we start to reflect and we start to think a lot about what it is we want in our lives. And one of the first things that happens when you start on this path of figuring out what's next is thinking about your goals. Sometimes we are just so mired in our day-to-day living in our lives that we have trouble articulating what we even want next. We have some ideas, but we aren't sure if they're real. Maybe we feel like we just don't want to keep doing what we're doing today, but we don't know what we want. Or what we love to do is we love to wait for someone to give us an opportunity so that we don't have to make the decision ourselves. Either way, today we will dive into this idea of not just a goal, but an impossible possible goal. I remember when I started thinking about my physical health and taking the next steps to increase my quality of life, I thought about exercising every day. This is one of the important pillars of the spiritual achiever method is your earth energy, your mind-body connection, and your physical health. And once I did that, I pretty soon realized movement wasn't just about quantity. I could actually improve the quality of my exercise. And this is a step-by-step thing. I didn't want to do it all at once, but I started first with the quantity of the exercise, and then I moved to the quality. And as I began thinking more about that concept of quality, there was a day when I went running with my husband. It hasn't happened in many, many years, but it was a first. And I remember mentioning this in my other podcast episode about starting to run again. But as we went running on the track in our town for the first time in the 7 years that we've been living there, I had a thought. And this thought was, what if I tried running in under a 7-minute mile like I did in high school? I ran, I think my time was 6 something, 6:10, 6:30, something like that. And the next thought was, who would I become along the way? And the third thought was, I should find a coach. And so, like many of you, I stopped certain workout routines when I had my first baby. So it has been over 8 years since I've been running consistently. I reached out to Kyle Merber, who was the one professional runner I happened to know, only one. He happened to live in my town, and he was the only person I knew to ask if he knew of a coach. And he said he'd be willing to coach me to run this mile under 7 minutes. So this is how my impossible goal began. An impossible goal is a goal that stretches you and allows you to fall in love with yourself in the process along the way. It's a goal that might feel like you have no idea how you would achieve it, but you'd love to see who you become on the journey. You might not even know if you can achieve it. And when I began to think about that for myself and running, I saw that I could be more disciplined. I would be more fit. I'd learn about myself and running in a way I never have before. This is who I would become on this journey. And as I thought about those things, I realized that this was compelling. It was a worthy goal. And impossible possible goals should be possible, which is why I started the possible. And they should be worthy. Possible in the sense that you're not fighting against gravity, but you're stretching yourself so it's not too easy. I know that many of us have been burnt out in the past, or maybe you're burnt out right now. So the idea of stretching yourself can feel really exhausting. And if you're there right now, take the time you need to regulate yourself and start to come back to a place where you feel like you have some space in your life. And often when I work with clients who have or are experiencing burnout, the impossible goal isn't to do more, it's actually to do less. This might resonate with many of you right now. It's to be smarter and more intelligent about their choices, how they spend their time, and what results that they are creating in their lives. So in this way, impossible possible goals can be to get off that hamster wheel of your daily actions, your habits, your behaviors. Maybe it's to not get so angry, to be less judgmental, to accept, to be more present in our lives. And they don't have to be tangible, but they do have to be noticeable. You want to be able to notice and observe what happens, and that you're changing your actions, you're changing your habits, you're changing your behaviors. And maybe no one notices but you at first that you're achieving this goal, that you're getting better at feeling less stressed, chaotic, exhausted, or overwhelmed from life. Is it still worthy? Well, absolutely. Even if no one else notices but you. What's the price of peace in your life? What is the price of peace in your life? And that price might be that no one cares about this goal but you. Maybe you being chaotic and frantic served other people, or you at least thought it served other people. Maybe it served some people really well, not others really well. So you might be the only one that cares about this goal because it's for you. And the price might be that you are uncomfortable because you've never done this thing this way before. And the price might be that you don't know who you are without acting the way you've always acted, without responding the way you've always responded, without being that person who does these things in this way, because I've always done it this way. So we move forward into this land of uncertainty, creating certainty solely from our minds and our beliefs and our hearts, from this place where we have this intention of an impossible possible goal that we feel is worthy of our time and energy. We are declaring that we are no longer available for accidental goals. I talk about this in my Career Revelation Academy course, the one about changing careers. Accidental goals. So we're no longer available for accidental goals that we create, not from this place of decision and intentionality, but from a place of old patterns of behavior. So a year after making that impossible possible goal of running a mile under 7 minutes, I've done not only that, but I've become more fit, I've become more disciplined, I've fallen in love with running and my body again. And I didn't fall in love with my body because I've become more fit, but because I appreciate what it can do, even if I could never run another day in my life again. I had this newfound appreciation for that act of walking, running, moving my body in these ways of being able to move our legs and get places, sometimes close by and sometimes far. And I connected with new people and places through running. So last week, I ran a 5K. It was the first race I've run since before we had kids over 8 years ago. And I placed 36 out of 560 something people in my age group. And this is within the top 10%. And my intention, let's be clear, wasn't to be within the top 10% when I raced that 5K in New York City on that amazingly glorious fall day. It was to have fun, to blow my own mind, not from just that one day, but by running my own race during that one day. And what I started realizing was that, hey, no matter how bad I am when I start doing something, and I often am pretty bad when I start doing things, I usually end up in the top 10% of whatever it is I do. There is a process to achieving our goals and setting our goals. And this is why I'm so passionate about the term spiritual achiever, why I created a method around this process. It works, and it works not just for achieving for the sake of achieving, but for the sake of meaningful and purposeful goals that allow ourselves to fall back in love with our life. And when I saw those numbers that day, my friend Leanne was by my side. We were in this coffee shop grabbing some treats and drinks, coffee drinks. Just to be clear, it was the afternoon for the family after the run when my coach Kyle texted me and he asked me, "How did it go?" And I realized I never sent him any of the information, and that Strava, which is like Facebook for runners and how I have him know what I'm doing and how I'm doing, it hadn't updated from that day. So I pulled up my race results from the official New York Roadrunners website, and what I noticed on my results were just my pace, which was different from what I had on my watch. So I didn't notice what my friend Leanne noticed, and she said, "May, good job. You placed 36 out of 564 in your age group." And I literally said back to her, "That can't be right. This must be a mistake." It was not within my realm. I was just running, right? I was just running. I wasn't trying to place in the top 7%. I didn't even have that concept in my mind. I had just started running again a year ago, and I didn't consider myself this fast runner. But what I did have in my awareness was to set myself up to succeed on my own terms. And how did I do that? I got a coach so I could expose myself to my own behaviors, and I could also expose myself to being challenged by focusing on doing the daily work of trying to figure out when to run so I could be home in time to bring the kids to school, or get to a call in time, by negotiating workout times with my husband, by figuring out where to run, to get my body to actually follow my mind and the training plans, to find new places to run when I was traveling, and to rest when I wasn't feeling well or injured. So many thoughts and so many obstacles to conquer every single day. And what immediately came to mind when I did that quick calculation and saw that I was in the top 10% was all of the other times that this has happened in my life, across all these areas of my life. This is what I'm most proud of. Not that I did it here with running, but I've done it there, and I've done it there, and I've done it there, and I've done it there. And not from this place of being better or superior to start, but just by having an intention, an impossible possible goal that was my own, no matter what area of life in which it was focused. And the next thing that came to mind was these words from Aristotle that I want to share. You might know this already. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. And you might have heard this many times before, but I found the full quote, which you probably haven't heard, and is much more powerful. Excellence is an art won by training and habituation. We do not act rightly because we have virtue or excellence, but rather we have those because we have acted rightly. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. I could just stop there because it is that powerful. Excellence is an art won by training and habituation. Your impossible possible goal isn't some random fluke, my friends. It is excellent, and it is excellence in the making. It is an art. Your life is a masterpiece. Your work is your craft. Your family is a craft. Your health is a craft. Your mind and your mental and your emotional mastery is a craft. And this goal is something that you can take action towards to achieve. And if this is the case, why not have an impossible goal that is just possible, just on the brink of possibility? Why not see what happens when you think, wouldn't it be fun if you fill in the blank? I have my clients set impossible goals across so many areas of their lives. Sometimes they can be achieved within 30 days. Sometimes they are the work of a lifetime. Always they are worthy of pursuing, no matter what. So come back to that place of not knowing what your next goal is and set your impossible possible goal from there. You will end up in a land of outcomes that will blow you away. So that's it, my friends, for this week. I love you so much, and I will see you next time. If this resonates with you, you want to see your impossible possible goals come to life, you want to get unstuck, figure out what's next, you will love coaching. Getting coached consistently is that spark that lights that fire of inspiration so that you make the changes, you figure out the roadmap, and you create the vision of what it is you want in your life. You can go to www.mayemson.com/contact to learn more. And if you are interested in figuring out how to create some meaningful and purposeful goals, I'm holding a workshop on December 12th. Go to www.mayemson.com/your best year. We will craft a year of your best life. You will not want to miss it. I will see you there.
Thanks so much for joining us this week on Own Your Best Life. Make sure to subscribe to the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts so that you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, can you please rate and review on iTunes? I would so appreciate it. Share it with a friend, take a screenshot of it, and tag @MayEmson. This helps continue to get the word out. For more show notes and resources, check out www.mayemson.com. You'll have all the links to everything you heard here today. Thanks so much for listening. It's time to own your best life.